Game theory is just, game theory is another one of those things that's just part of our intuition. You can people, when I started writing about game theory, I had a couple threads that did pretty well, especially given the size of my audience at the time that I wrote them. But people would ask me what books I recommend on game theory and how to learn about it. That's not the best way to learn about game theory, in my opinion. Because no one's, like I said, it's kind of the same as the mental models. No one's going to be direct referencing the ideas, although it is good to understand them. But game theory is really just, like I said, part of our intuition, and it has to do with logical decision making. It's an interdisciplinary field. It can bridge into economics, biology. I play poker. It's just, and it goes into artificial intelligence and machine learning too. But basically, it's about understanding asymmetry. And to me, like I said, the best way to learn it is to think of your life as a game. But the way you win the game is you imagine exactly how you would want to live your life, or exactly how you want to be, and then break that down into a set of daily actions. What would that person be doing, and work backwards, basically.
Okay. And the Nash equilibrium. If you ever watched the movie Beautiful Mind, there's a demonstration for that when they're in the bar and they're looking at the women there, and he's trying to decide the optimal choice and how to go for one versus the other. What are some of the, I guess, in real life, in games? I know in crypto we talk about the game theory of, okay, we'll design this really cool game theory. We'll design this really cool features of the token or the coin, the tokenomics, and we'll say, okay, based on what other people do, this should be a feature that makes the price performance go up or makes the coin a bit more popular and things like that. What are some examples too of game theory that the people have taken advantage of and won games or even lost games in the real world?
To me, I think the whole digital writer kind of movement that's going on Twitter is a really good example. It seems like everyone can kind of write whatever they want and find some success. My favorite people are kind of the smaller niche audiences or smaller niche creators. Well, I mean, there's really great big creators too, but some of these people write hilarious conspiracy theory stories. Just this I don't know how to say the word Scivive.
The book Scivive.
Yeah, Scivive. I'm sorry, I've never encountered that term before, but
it's science and survive is a combination.
Actually, the internet kind of allows an infinite, the potential for an infinite variety of niches, and people can add value however they want. And it's funny because usually the people talking about storytelling frameworks are actually not the people telling the best stories on Twitter. And there's
is that some game theory? Is it all the best storytellers aren't?
But it actually is game theory, because the people who are writing about storytelling frameworks are probably making maybe more money. I don't know.
Well, you have a group of people. I guess that you could. Man, it's so
because
many ways
the storytelling frameworks is what people closer to the surface need, essentially.
And that they aren't incentivized. Are they playing a different game? The two different categories: people who write for money and people who write for creative outlet. Are they?
I think both are great and perfectly fine reasons to write. I kind of want to do both, and the stuff that seems to get a lot of interaction on Twitter tends to be marketing, organization, some philosophy, but not as much as interests me. That's awesome, Finbear.
That's a good example of getting a car.
I mean, that's the thing. It's basically just trying to see where can you find the edge in the situation. I don't know. It's just thinking on the advantage. Not even hard. It's hard to boil down to specific principles because we're dealing with uncertainty. So it's no situation is the same, and it really just depends on what you're trying to create. But game theory is just, it's just decision-making principles for the materialization of an idea, to me.
And you have different players, and does it change based on having 2 players versus 200 players?
Somewhat. games are not, in my idea, are like not always like bounded to a number of players. It's like the game is kind of defined by the system you're playing within. There are finite games like poker or like a soccer match or whatever. But most like social games like business are not like bounded. And that also means that we don't really have to compete with each other in them.
So
So
zero sum versus positive sum and negative sum
yeah,
games.
positive sum is just essentially an attitude that we are now living in a time of abundance, and we have resources and time to solve problems. So we're not actually in competition for resources anymore. The resource we are in competition for is attention, which is what ultimately funds problem solving.
What are some of the games that social media companies play?
I mean,
Like around
machine
attention,
learning
around things like
algorithm
that.
kind of just like determines the game. It's like we kind of, it's games are so weird. I write about a lot of like the illusion of control and control theory. And it's kind of like there are levels of thought that go into it, and I guess technically the creator is defining the game, but actually the consumer is who is in control because they're the ones with the attention to give away. So it's like social media companies, they will exploit that using the algorithm, but also people give right into it with their own time. So it's like they're the ones that created the game. We don't even know that we're playing it and are losing.
Yeah, or we know we're playing it, but we're okay.
And we like
giving
are
up
kind of
that.
angry about it.
Yeah, we're either angry about it or we're like, okay, they're giving me. We feel like we're getting a good deal, even though maybe we are, maybe we aren't, but we feel like we're getting a good deal. Okay, I'll trade my attention for more. You entertain me throughout the day, or you know, keep me connected to people, or whatever it is.
Right. And the more we can kind of like, I don't know, detach our need for that, using it for that purpose, actually, the more it becomes a powerful tool for us, I think.
Yes.